welcome to the U.S. History AICR Teacher Canvas Training video. Today we will cover essential skills such as logging in, teacher resources, viewing and locating students, as well as grade reports. The first thing we're going to go over is logging in. Educators will use the link provided here, and their login will be username E with their ID number, password will be their lowercase first name initial plus their lowercase last name initial and their E number without the E. Students will use the same login link as teachers, but their login will be S with their ID number and their password will be NISD with their student ID number without the S. When students first enter their course, they will be asked to agree to the acceptable use policy. Make sure to click the box here and click Submit. After, they will be asked to accept their course. If a student is enrolled in one course, they will be asked to accept only the one course by clicking the green button. First, we're going to start by logging in. When I first open up to my course, on the home screen, I will be able to see Canvas Teacher Resources. When looking at the Canvas Teacher Resources, it's going to take me to a PowerPoint. On that PowerPoint, I'm able to see the Canvas Teacher Resources. The basics are going to be linked provided on the website, as well as any things that you might need for the course. I want to make sure that you have access to the test codes. So the test codes are going to be the main piece of what we need for our course. We have our pre-test codes for each unit, as well as our post-test codes for each unit. The codes are going to be linked on the teacher resources. Going back to our homepage, students also have student resources whenever they're on their screen. The first thing we're going to cover is pre-test. Each unit will start out with a pre-test, and they will be indicated labeled as pre-test. Whenever students click on the pretest, they're going to be asked to enter an access code. Access codes will be given on the pretest code links here. There are two units that do not have a pretest, Unit 4 and Unit 8. All students must participate in Unit 4 and Unit 8 and then complete the post-test at the end. When looking at a pretest for a student, I'm able to look at their answers by going to the bottom of the screen and clicking Build, and then going to Moderate at the top of the screen. When I look at Moderate, it pulls up my students in my class. I can see that Wonder Woman has not taken the test yet, but I can see that James Bond has taken the test. James got 100. He spent this much time, and I can see his time log here for each question, or I can click on the attempt and look at the questions for the student. Any questions that they got correct will be marked and indicated, as well as showing how many points are earned for that question. If the student did not get an answer correct, it would be indicated in red, and it would indicate that they did not earn those points. That's moderating a quiz for a student. If a student were to ask you to open a pretest, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to view as a student. So every teacher has the option to view as a student up at the top right hand side of their screen. When you click view as student, your screen will change slightly and you will see this box come up saying you are currently viewing as a student. So as a student, whenever they click on the pretest, they would click on the pretest and it will ask for an access code. Teachers will then enter the access code into this area and then click Submit. Once they click Submit, the student is able to access their tests. This is the same screen for post-tests and pre-tests. Students will be prompted to have an access code entered on all post-test and pre-tests. We're going to go ahead and leave the student view here and go into our home screen. When grading an assignment as a teacher, I'm going to go ahead and use this as our example here. So I have a couple of options I'm going to go to the 3 dots and click Speed Grader. When I click on Speed Grader, it's going to open up any students that have turned in an assignment. So I can see here that I'm on student James Bond, and James Bond, this is his answer. I can give the student a grade in this column here, and you know what, James, you did pretty good. I'm going to give you a 90. And then I would click Submit over here. Once I gave James the score and I click Submit, I can see that he got 90 out of 100 and it has populated for that student. If there were more students that have the grade, they would populate in this drop down here. To go back to the course, I'm going to go ahead and click back here. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the home screen of my course here. I'm going to show you how to view a student's grades. So there are 2 options. I can go back to grades, or I can go to people. If I want to look at the actual individual student's grade report, I'm going to start by clicking people. I'm going to use James Bond as my example here. The nice thing about people is I can see that their last activity, how much time they've spent on the course, and everything that they have done for the course. So I'm going to start by clicking James, and I'm going to click grades. Once I click grades, I can see that the student has a 90 in the course, and I want to make sure that I have this calculating only based on graded assignments here. You can arrange by different options. You can arrange by due date like it's set here, or I can select by module. When I enter them as module, it's going to put them in chronological order for the student. So because James did so well on the pretest, he did well enough to complete the unit and not have to participate in any other piece of Unit 1. On Unit 2, James did not do well enough on the pretest, scoring a 33, so James did need to participate in the other opportunities throughout the Unit 2 lesson. And then once James completes both pieces of Unit 2, then he's eligible to take the pretest. I know that these assignments have not been graded because there's a dash here, and these have been graded because it tells me 90 out of 100. Once a student has completed every single piece of the course, you can see all grades are assigned. Their average must be a 70 or higher to receive a 70 in the course. If I wanted to go ahead and submit this student for completion, I would start by clicking Print Grades. Once I print grades, it's going to automatically open up to Save as a PDF. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. It gives me a name here. I'm going to go ahead and keep that name and click Save. It's going to save to wherever you indicated for it to be saved to. Going back to the home screen, I have showed you guys the essential skills for the U.S. History Accelerated Instruction Teacher Facilitating the AI-CR portion of the program when using our Canvas platform. Good luck to everyone, and feel free to review any parts of the video for any pieces that you may need more help with.